The Capitol riots. Our next story is about what's happening in the U.S. as of now. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6 Capitol riots held its last hearing of the month on Thursday. The focus of this hearing was on what the panel says: Trump's refusal to act during the 187 minutes of carnage that took place inside Capitol Hill. Listen in.
Here's what will be clear by the end of this hearing. President Trump did not fail to act during the 187 minutes between leaving the ellipse and telling the mob to go home. He chose not to act.
The panel was chaired by the Democratic Committee Chief, Ben Thompson, who accused Trump of deliberately taking no action and disregarding desperate pleas of his family and staff as violence continued at Capitol Hill on January 6th.
For the weeks between November election and January 6th, Donald Trump was a force to be reckoned with. He shrugged off the factuality and legality, correct, sober advice of his knowledgeable and sensible advisors. Instead, he recklessly blazed a path of lawlessness and corruption, the cost to which democracy be damned.
January 6th was the culmination of an attempted coup, a brazen attempt, as one rioter put it shortly after January 6th, to overthrow the government. The violence was no accident.
The January 6th committee also released a video of Donald Trump shot a day after the deadly riot. Take a look.
But this election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
The House committee member and the Wyoming representative Liz Cheney said that the reason why Trump did not stop the mob was because it was fulfilling its goal.
Only one thing was succeeding on the afternoon of January 6th. Only one thing was achieving President Trump's goal. The angry, armed mob President Trump sent to the Capitol broke through security, invaded the Capitol, and forced the vote counting to stop. That mob was violent and destructive, and many came armed.
Two former Trump aides also gave their in-person testimony in front of the panel. Matthew Pottinger, the former Deputy National Security Advisor, was among the two. Listen in.
I read it and was quite disturbed by it. I was disturbed and worried to see that the president was attacking Vice President Pence for doing his constitutional duty. So the tweet looked to me like the opposite of what we really needed at that moment, which was a de-escalation. And that's why I had said earlier that it looked like fuel being poured on the fire.
He resigned last year right after Trump tweeted that former Vice President Mike Pence did not have the courage to do what should have been done to protect the country and the Constitution.
I've seen the impact that his words have on his supporters. They truly latch on to every word and every tweet that he says. And so I think that in that moment, for him to tweet out the message about Mike Pence, it was him pouring gasoline on the fire and making it much worse.
Also present at the hearing was Metropolitan Police Department Sergeant Mark Robinson. Listen in.
And so we were told to stand by on West Exec until they confirmed whether or not the president was going to go to the Capitol. And so I may have waited, I would just estimate maybe 45 minutes to an hour, waiting for Secret Service to make that decision.
In the end, the Representative Cheney said that the panel will spend the next month pursuing new and damning evidence before convening further hearings. And for more details, we were earlier joined by our correspondent Susan Tehrani from New York with the latest. Listen in.
Donald Trump reading off the teleprompter made a lot of news. It was a catchphrase shared widely on social media, which is no coincidence considering the fact that, you know, a lot of people, at least on the Republican side and those that support Donald Trump, won't be watching these hearings and will be tuning out. Those that are watching it will be watching it on prime time. And for those that won't be, these little snippets, you know, will be shared ultimately, and perhaps, you know, that way, you know, a wider audience will be able to watch it. I think what was interesting was to see, you know, part of Donald Trump Jr.'s cooperation as well, you know, sort of trying to convince his father to also stop the protesters, notably the attack or attempted attack, at least, on Vice President Mike Pence.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.